What if the next dominant species on Earth is already alive right now? Not hiding in the jungle, not buried underground, not waiting on another planet, but swimming quietly through the ocean. Because dolphins are far stranger than most people realize. They recognize themselves in mirrors, they have names for each other, they teach their children, they cooperate in groups, they understand patterns, solve problems, and communicate using complex sounds scientists still do not fully understand. And the weirdest part is this: dolphins evolved intelligence completely separately from humans. That means evolution may have accidentally created advanced intelligence twice, once on land and once in the ocean. So now the question becomes uncomfortable. If humans disappeared tomorrow, could dolphins eventually take our place? At first, that sounds ridiculous. Dolphins do not build cities, they do not use fire, they do not wear clothes, write books, or invent machines. Most of the time, they just look like smiling sea creatures doing backflips for tourists. But human intelligence did not appear overnight either. For most of human history, our ancestors were just another animal trying not to die. No technology, no civilization, no language as we know it, just survival. And yet somehow, over millions of years, evolution slowly transformed a group of primates into a species capable of building rockets, splitting atoms, and arguing with strangers online at 2 a.m. So the real question is not whether dolphins look intelligent now. The real question is whether they are on a path that could eventually lead somewhere terrifyingly close to us. To understand that, we first need to talk about why dolphins are so intelligent in the first place. Because large brains are expensive. Your brain uses enormous amounts of energy. Human intelligence only evolved because it gave our ancestors an advantage strong enough to justify the cost. Dolphins seem to have gone through something similar. The ocean is not simple. It is a massive three-dimensional world where survival depends on memory, cooperation, communication, and social awareness. Dolphins hunt in teams, some use coordinated attack strategies, others pass knowledge between generations. In parts of Australia, bottlenose dolphins teach their young to place sea sponges on their snouts while searching the ocean floor. It protects them from sharp rocks. That may not sound revolutionary, but it is culture. One generation teaching another generation a learned behavior that changes everything. Because civilization does not begin with skyscrapers, it begins with information surviving longer than an individual life. And dolphins already do that. Some dolphins even have signature whistles that function almost like names. Imagine that for a second. A creature in the ocean can call for a specific individual using a unique sound associated with that dolphin alone. That is not simple instinct anymore. That is identity. And identity is a very strange thing for evolution to create. But intelligence alone is not enough to replace humans. If it were, octopuses might already rule the oceans. Octopuses are unbelievably intelligent. They solve puzzles, escape containers, recognize people, and manipulate objects with incredible precision. But they have a fatal weakness: they die too quickly. Most octopuses live only a few years. Knowledge disappears almost as fast as it appears. Dolphins are different. Some live for decades. They form long-term social groups. Mothers raise calves for years. Young dolphins spend huge portions of their lives learning. That matters because intelligence without accumulated knowledge is like a computer that resets every morning. Human civilization became possible because information stacked over generations, and dolphins may already have the beginnings of that process. But then we hit a massive problem: hands. Human civilization is built on manipulation of the environment. Fire, tools, machines, writing, construction, agriculture, all of it depends on our ability to physically reshape the world around us. Dolphins do not have hands, and that limitation is enormous. A dolphin might understand an object, but it cannot easily pick it up, rotate it, carve it, or assemble it. Water also makes technology incredibly difficult. Fire is basically impossible underwater. Metalworking? Forget it. Even if dolphins became dramatically smarter, the ocean itself fights against civilization. Which raises a strange possibility. Maybe intelligence does not automatically lead to technology. Humans often assume advanced intelligence naturally ends with cities, factories, and smartphones because that is what happened to us. But dolphins may represent an entirely different path, a non-technological intelligence. Think about it. Dolphins do not need houses because the ocean already surrounds them. They do not need roads. They do not need agriculture in the same way land animals do. They evolved in an environment where survival favored social intelligence more than environmental control. Humans conquered nature by reshaping it. Dolphins survived by adapting to it. That is a completely different evolutionary philosophy. And honestly, there may be something slightly arrogant about assuming our version of intelligence is the only one that matters. Because dolphins already outperform humans in certain ways, their social awareness is extraordinary. Some scientists believe dolphin communication may contain layers humans still cannot decode properly. They cooperate constantly. They navigate vast oceans using sound. They experience reality through echolocation, which is almost impossible for humans to imagine. To a dolphin, the world is not primarily visual, it is acoustic. They can sense shape through sound itself. Imagine living in a world where sound creates mental images. That is so alien it almost feels like science fiction, and yet it is real. Now, here is where things become unsettling. Human intelligence may not actually be stable forever. Civilizations collapse. Species go extinct. Evolution does not care about philosophy, morality, or progress. It only cares about survival. If humanity disappeared because of climate collapse, war, disease, or something we have not imagined yet, Earth would not stay empty for long. Evolution would keep going. Millions of years would pass, new pressures would emerge, and dolphins would still be there. In some ways, they are already remarkably successful. They exist across huge parts of the planet. They are adaptable, social, intelligent, and capable of learning. That combination is rare. The terrifying part is realizing human dominance might not be permanent. For most of Earth's history, humans did not exist. And for most of the future, we probably will not either. Something always comes after. The dinosaurs ruled Earth for around 165 million years. Humans have dominated civilization for only a tiny fraction of that time. From evolution's perspective, we may barely count as a beginning. So could dolphins eventually replace us? Honestly, probably not in the way science fiction imagines. They are unlikely to build underwater cities or create dolphin computers. The physical limitations of the ocean are simply too extreme. Without fire, advanced manufacturing becomes incredibly difficult. But replacement may not require imitation. Dolphins do not need to become humans to become the next dominant intelligence. That is the mistake we keep making. We define intelligence by resemblance to ourselves. But evolution does not work toward humans as some final goal. We are not the blueprint. We are just one experiment that happened to work unusually well, and dolphins may be another. The strangest part of all this is realizing that intelligence itself may not even be rare. Maybe Earth naturally pushes certain species toward awareness under the right conditions. Maybe consciousness is not a miracle. Maybe it is just something evolution occasionally stumbles into when survival becomes complicated enough. If that is true, then somewhere in the oceans right now, pods of dolphins may already possess the early foundations of something far larger than we understand. Not human civilization, something else, something quieter, something built on memory, sound, relationships, and oceans instead of steel and concrete. And maybe one day, long after human cities have disappeared beneath rising water and collapsing time, another species will inherit the planet. Not because they defeated us, but because evolution simply kept going, the same way it always has. And somewhere beneath the waves, a dolphin may look at the ruins of humanity the same way humans once looked at dinosaur bones. So could dolphins eventually replace humans? Probably not in the way movies imagine. They are unlikely to build underwater skyscrapers. They probably will not invent computers or launch rockets into space. The ocean simply creates too many physical barriers. But maybe that is the wrong question, because replacement does not require imitation. The next dominant intelligence on Earth would not need to become human, it would only need to survive after humans are gone. And that possibility is stranger than it sounds. For most of Earth's history, there were no humans. The planet existed perfectly well without us. Oceans moved, forests grew, species evolved, and life kept experimenting.